people will pay for a service, but they'll come back because of an experience. And I think that that's huge, especially here. We've heard it so many times from clients and even staff that have worked at other barbershops, and then the clients that have visited other barbershops and come here and say, like, it's different here. I get treated like a person and not a number. I get greeted by multiple people. I get said bye to by multiple people. And then also from the staff that have worked at other barbershops and been like, dude, the culture there, the energy, the vibes are off, the music, it was an environment that wasn't conductive or conducive of good business. And I think that that's something that really sets us apart from a lot of different barbershops.
Nathan with Brotherhood Beyond Business. I'm here with Luis and Melrose of Wolves Barber Lounge, and we're going to learn a little bit more about today about what goes on at their barbershop. So Melrose, Luis, talk to us real quick. Who are you guys and what do you do for the community?
So my name's Luis Cano. I'm co-owner of Wolves Barber Lounge, and I've been cutting hair for 20 years, man. So we service the surrounding communities. We've been servicing Grayslake for about 6 years now. Well, actually, yesterday we turned 6. So
congratulations on the anniversary. That's pretty.
Thank you.
And this is my co-partner, Melrose.
Yeah, so co-owner of Wolves Barber Lounge, been cutting hair for 14 years. Born in New York, came here at like 5 years old, been a Lake County resident ever since. Have bounced around from a few different shops, but now thankfully we have opened these beautiful doors. We're new to this location. We just opened up this location in January 5th. On January 5th, but the business is 6 years old as of June 1st. So COVID babies.
Started in 2020. So tell me, like, how did you guys meet to decide, like, hey, let's open a business together?
So that's a cool story, actually. We worked at a different barbershop together. We weren't owners there. We were just coworkers. And I feel like we got along really well, And it was one of those things where I came back from college, finished my 4-year degree, and I just kept coming back to the barber industry. And I met Melrose at this barbershop, and we just hit it off nice, man. And, it was a nice, like, I felt like I had one of my brothers with me. So for me, that's what it felt like.
Yeah, literally what he said. I kept hearing about this guy, Cano. I was actually cutting while he was in college, and I would kind of inherit some of his clients as walk-ins, or, my books weren't as busy. I was new to the industry. I was maybe a year into my career, and I kept hearing about this guy, Cano. So, I finally, when he came, I was excited and I was bummed because I was like, I'm going to lose all the clients that I've been cutting because now they're going to go back to their original barber. But I was excited to finally put a face to the name. And yeah, so we that's kind of where the fruits of all of this started, and the seeds were planted to one day venture out and open up this awesome business.
How did that conversation start where you guys were like, we should do this, we could do this?
Yeah. We worked under ownership that I think we both felt, we saw things that we could improve on. And those are always good signs. Not saying that he was doing anything wrong, but just little things that we noticed that we're like, okay, we would do those things different. And then it just kind of led into conversations. He was flirting with an idea of a career change. And then luckily he changed his mind and he stuck with what he was, I think, gifted with doing. So it just kind of naturally led to us conjuring this amazing experience and brand. We went from all different types of names.
Man, we had like 20 different names, and we're not going to talk about those.
No.
Pretty embarrassing names. It was really funny though, but we landed with Wolves, and it just has such a power behind the words. And I'm just so glad that we stuck to it because we built a very reputable brand all across Lake County now. And you Wolves, and people know what you're talking about, thankfully.
For sure. And the Wolves, like as a pack, they have to hunt together to live together to survive, right? And you guys built that here with your team of barbers, and that's really cool. What kept you or wanted you to be like, I want to be a barber. I want to work with people. I want to work with people day in and day out. What kind of led you to make that decision?
So for me, it was like I've always, I felt like I've always been like a people pleaser. Like, I enjoy being around people. I'm a social butterfly. And the career that I went to school for tied in very much into that. But as he had mentioned earlier, like I've been doing this a long time, and it was just one of the things that I really enjoyed was just being with the people, with the community, and then just being able to, just to meet different walks of life. I think that was probably the more exciting thing to me.
10 haircuts, 10 very different stories.
Oh, yeah. The networking, all the stuff we were just talking about, that like the amount of networking done, just being behind these chairs, these walls. So that's what kept me in the loop with it, to be honest.
For sure. In bits and pieces, yeah. I was very lost, I think, at like 25. I was trying to find myself, I think, like most young men are. I had a child, so I was already a father, and providing kind of became the prevalent focus of my life. Like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life, and how am I going to provide for this child? I also had people skills. I had worked in customer service in various ways and aspects. I had managerial experience. So I just really needed to hone in on myself. And it was literally by chance that I was sitting at a barbershop waiting for my barber at the time to get to me. And he was really ranting and kind of complaining about not having a lunch that day. And so I'm like, well, how long are you working? And he's like, well, I've been here since 9. I got to work till like past 9 p.m. And I'm like, wow, 12 hours of cutting hair. That's crazy. And, you know, simple math, I think like most clients do as they're waiting for their barber, and they realize, okay, I know what I pay you, and I know what. So I was doing that math, and I was like, man, this could be a viable career, right? Like this could be something where I can really provide for my family. All I needed to do was hone in on the skill set. And so I started YouTubing, and that led to school, barber school, probably the only after high school experience scholastically that I've had. But it's paid dividends. I went to His and Hers Barber School, so shout out to His and Hers, and on the west side of Chicago. Went there, did my 1,500 credit hours, graduated, and then started pursuing barbering. Had no idea how to cut hair, 25 years old, fresh out of options, actually. Told my mom about it. She kind of scoffed at it, was like, why do you want to cut hair at 25? Like, but mom, look at what we've done, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Pretty incredible. So like you didn't know, you kind of did it for a little bit.
So
Started younger, right?
Yeah, I started when I was 14. So that's a funny story in itself. It was honestly, one of my cousins took me to my first barbershop in Chicago, and I got my first fade, and it was like the coolest haircut I ever got at 14. And, you know, I didn't even know how to express that at that moment. I was just like, dude, like I need this every single time. And then my mother, she would always take me to her hairstylist, and, you know, I'll be honest, they didn't really know how to do those kind of hairstyles. So from one day to the next, I bought a pair of clippers from Walmart, and I just started hacking away. And
It's your own hair?
Yeah, my own hair.
Okay.
Yeah. And I slowly, I mean, it took a while, but it took me about a good year for me to finally get it down. And you know, so people started asking me who was cutting my hair, and then that turned into me cutting the buddies, my siblings, and it just trickled down into that, you know. But at that point, it wasn't a career. It was more of I've always been like an artsy guy, you know, so I loved doing art classes in high school and stuff like that. So for me, it was just more of an art thing. And thankfully, I was making like $5 a haircut. Once I started getting a little better and better, people started paying me for it. Yeah, so it was, you know, it was more like of a hobby and an art thing for me.
So are you from? So you went to Chicago for your schooling. So if you're from around here, are you also from around here? Then?
I'm from out here, yeah.
Okay. And did you go to school at the same spot?
Yeah, the same schools, yeah, just different times.
Okay. Very cool. And then you guys built clientele. So you were working at a barbershop, and you decided to open your own one. And then what happened to COVID just came like 3 months before you guys planned to open or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then talking about like, how did you get clients? Obviously, you had people who cut hair. Like, I don't know, as men, we get nervous about different people cutting our hair, right? Now that I come here to you guys to get my hair cut, like if I don't book in advance, like I'm like, oh my gosh, who's going to cut my hair? Some random person's going to cut my hair now, right? And it's like, it's nerve wracking. So how did you get people to come to you guys knowing that like, hey, we're going to take care of you. We're going to give you the best haircuts probably out there?
So for me, in the beginning, I was terrible at cutting hair. I had personality more than I had skills behind the chair. So I think people first liked me and were like, I can grow with this kid. You know what I mean? I'll give him a few opportunities to mess me up and hopefully get it right. And shout out to those people. Thank you. And we all need you. All barbers need people to practice on. But I think that for me, it was jumping into the deep waters, going into a barbershop with people like Cano, like, you know, the gentleman Wilmer who owned the barbershop, and his brother Douglas. And they at the time, I think collectively had 20 years of barbering experience. And here I am like 11 months out of barber school. And I'm like, all right, let me jump in here and cut hair next to these guys. They already had a great reputation from Stilos.
Yeah, from Stilos. And one of the old shops in Round Lake that is no longer there. But yeah, it was very reputable barber shop.
And you had worked there for a while.
So I worked there my senior year of high school. I got recruited to work there with them. And I worked there till about, I think I was 19. No, actually, I was 21, up until 21. And then that's when I transferred to the Western Illinois University. And I had to leave barbering behind for that.
So some industries have like apprenticeships. Does barbering have that? Yeah.
Yeah, we actually offer that.
Oh, you do that?
Yeah. We offer that. So if anybody in Lake County is looking to learn the art of barbering and you want to come in, there's, 12 to 14 very talented staff members here that can all, cut hair, do any kind of haircut that you can imagine. So if anybody is out there even curious and wants to just watch us cut hair, you're more than welcome to.
Is it common for the person, like if they intern with you, do they probably become a barber for you? Or is that just,
So far, I think we've had really good success with that.
really? Okay. So they like it here. Like,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they enjoy it. The thing is that, thankfully we do have a lot of people that want to work here, and thankfully with this expansion we have room for it. But we're taking the steps slow when it comes to the hiring process. And some of the people that intern with us, they as soon as they're done with school, they want to start here right away. The people that have talked to us recently, and it's just hard, right? Because we have a pool of people that want to come in here, and we just have to slowly introduce instead of filling up all the chairs.
would they have like give you a haircut, for example, or what would be like part of that interview process?
Well, it's very similar to I feel like any kind of interview process, right? We have a questionnaire, we get to know them, we kind of check out their vibe and stuff like that. And but if they, we always ask for a portfolio. If they don't have a portfolio, then we'll do like another interview process where we'll have them perform a haircut right here at the barbershop just to see where their skill sets are at, and it helps us gauge where their skills are at. So it's
I figure give them a little bit of grace if they're
Yeah.
coming out of school or something, maybe a little nervous.
Absolutely. We all know what it was like when we first started. We all know what we needed, and it wasn't harsh words and unconstructive criticism. So we're all about, if you have the right personality, if you're the right person, then I think you're the right fit for this job. I think the skill set always will come with repetition and time and patience. But if you are of good character and you are of the people and you can, engage in conversation, I think those are intangible skills that really set you apart, even as a professional.
You teach them to be a better barber. You can't teach them to be
exactly
I don't want to say a better person, but like a more
absolutely
the type of person that people want to get a haircut from. You can be
Absolutely.
the best barber in the world, but if you're, you're boring as hell, like no one's going to come sit with you, right? Or whatever, if they don't like the environment.
And every time we walk out of an interview process, that's the first thing we talk about. It's like, what do you think about the personality? What did you think about how they reacted to the same things? The vibe, because we're big on that. We're big on culture here. We need to make sure everybody's getting along. You get a lot of people in one room and they're always together. You don't want things to come off the wrong way or whatever.
There's a quote that I was told. It said, people will pay for a service, but they'll come back because of an experience. And I think that that's huge, especially here. We've heard it so many times from clients and even staff that have worked at other barbershops, and then the clients that have visited other barbershops and come here and say, it's different here. I get treated like a person and not a number. I get greeted by multiple people. I get said bye to by multiple people. And then also from the staff that have worked at other barbershops and been like, dude, the culture there, the energy, the vibes are off, the music, it's just, it was an environment that wasn't conducive of good business. And I think that that's something that really sets us apart from a lot of different barbershops.
That's so true. And I like the fact you brought that up because it's so important, because someone can come in and get a phenomenal haircut.
Yeah.
They never come back. You're like, what the heck happened? Yeah. They love the haircut.
Yeah.
Right? But they could also have a mediocre haircut and have a wonderful experience to be like,
I'm coming back. Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
For sure.
So I know you guys want basically anyone to walk through the door, right? Because but it is a barbershop, so average clientele is probably male, right? Or at least probably 90% is male. So, but let's be honest, who do you really want to come in and sit down in your chair?
Caleb Williams. No, no. I mean, to that point, like we've had staff, barber, from the Bears come, thankfully. We've had coaches come. We've had some rather famous podcasters and YouTubers. But our biggest thing is everybody here is like a celebrity to us. If you walk through that door, we try to make you feel as welcomed and as special as I think you should be treated anywhere you go to spend your hard-earned money. But to me, I don't know that there is like an ideal customer. I think that anybody and everybody that gives us an opportunity to tend to their hair is the ideal customer. That's who we want. We want to knock it out of the park every single time. I don't know how you feel.
100%. Yeah, I have clients that they'd walk in the door and it's awesome. You meet them, but I never thought that the clientele I have now would be the most supportive clientele. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And where, if I'm being completely honest, the clientele that I had at the other location where I was working at prior to me and him opening the Wolves, very small percentage of those people still come over here, and it could be a matter of like distance or whatever, right? But it's awesome because, I see just people that I've never met before, and they're so supportive, and they have a lot of wisdom, and, different career paths and just different walks of life. And, so that's why, to his point, anybody that walks in, it's always like, oh, what are we getting this time? Like, who's going to sit down in my chair this time?
Right. It's that VIP
cool.
treatment. They'll come back extra 5 minutes for that. Right. So have you ever had an experience where someone came in and like, they were just stone cold. They didn't basically say a word to you like the whole haircut. And then like, you're like, oh man, like I just didn't connect with that person. Another time I'm coming back. And then like, they come back and they're like, I had such a wonderful time. And all of a sudden you're like, wait, what? So have you ever had that?
A lot.
Yeah.
I actually got one of his clients, I think, heard me chatting with one of my clients and was like, I would never sit in that guy's chair because he talks too much, which is fine, right? But to that point, like we have so many different characteristics in this barbershop, like Tico, for example, great barber, absolutely amazing, but he's not the biggest talker, right? But I think his clients enjoy that about him. So he has a roster of people that just enjoy not necessarily having to engage in long conversations. I'm more of a chatty Cathy, right? So, I get the people that want to have conversations, and it's almost like this cool interview process back and forth between me and my customer with every, experience that I get to have, and it's cool. But to your point, I think that everybody kind of finds and meshes with their barber. So a lot of those awkward engagements, if I ever do have them, I'll be honest with that person and be like, hey, maybe I'm not the best fit for you here, right? Like, maybe you should sit in Cano's chair. Maybe you should sit in the nicest way possible, right? But at the end of the day, I want you to have a good experience, a good time, and I want me to enjoy the process of cutting your hair too, right? So I think that that's important too, is knowing and understanding yourself, knowing and understanding your customer, and being able to say, okay, maybe we pivot on this one. You know what I mean?
So talk a little more about that. So someone comes in, they're walking, never been here before, never had any of you guys as their barber, right? No referral system or anything, right? No idea who to pick and choose from.
Sure.
How did you decide who's their barber if everyone was available?
Well, we always try to consult with the client. So let's say, for example, it's a walk-in. First question would probably be, have you been here before, right? Oh, no. Okay. So you don't have a barber that you specifically want to see. What kind of a haircut are you looking for? And then from there, based on if they say, oh, I want a long layered scissor cut. Okay, right away, I have 3 barbers in mind that I can sit them with. And the barber's going to be comfortable performing that task. And it's going to be an enjoyable experience for that person. And then do you have anything to add?
Yeah, definitely that, because it's really hard to really pinpoint if they're going to be, a little more chatty or more reserved.
Right.
It's very hard in a consultation right off the bat if they don't have any appointments. But that's literally the same thing I do. And I know the guys here as well do the same thing. You just kind of break it down, but what kind of hairstyle they're going to get. And sometimes it comes down to who has the most recent availability, because that's just how it works with walk-in traffic,
A lot of beard experts here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The guys here do amazing, man. It's awesome. And it's pretty cool because anytime I don't have availability, I always tell my clientele, hey, don't be shy to sit in any of the guys' chair. Like, we're going to get taken care of. And if for whatever reason there's something that you need to be changed, just let us know, man. We'll take care of it.
So Melrose over here won't be upset if I come sit in your chair one day because he's too busy.
Not at all. The only time we get upset is if we see you at like sports clips or something.
Yeah.
Like,
you come back and like, I went to sports clips.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna be like,
no.
But to your question, I think I avoided it slightly. There was one time where I have, and I still have, his name is Grant. So shout out to Grant. He is I'm gonna butcher this, and if he watches this, he's gonna be like, that's not my title, Mel. But I think he's a psychiatrist, but he deals with people. And I'm like, I didn't get that till like the second visit. But when I first saw him like sitting in the lobby waiting for his appointment, he seemed very stern in the face and like very rigid in his body posture and very like, and I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna be tough, so he sits in my chair, and before you know it, man, we just have this amazing, colorful back and forth conversation. And once he left, I was like, I like that guy. And I really thought, I was like, this is going to be one of those ones that I'm going to be like, I'm probably not the right guy for you, just because of how rigid he is and how like chill and lax I like to be, and I like to be a little bit of a goofball. And now that's probably one of my favorite conversations behind the chair, because he might be psychoanalyzing me, but we always have really good banter. It's awesome.
The walls came down, and he was able to have a conversation.
Yes.
Yes.
You both kind of mentioned like sports stuff. Like, oh man, that's like taboo, you know. So, but obviously, like there's other barbershops out there as well, right?
Absolutely.
Wolves is its own unique place. So let's talk about that. What did you guys, when you first started Wolves, and obviously 6 years later, what do you do specifically that you go, okay, we're going doing this and we're doing it differently than anyone else?
You want to?
So, yeah, I truly believe the culture that we have here is like the main attraction, where people love to just come and, you know, the experience as soon as they walk, from the moment they walk in to the moment they walk out. I feel like the experience here is amazing, and everybody in here is very friendly. There's never a dull moment when it comes to a new clientele coming in through those doors. And we try to, you know, and if there is something that's happening that's like, oh, you know, like, you know, we know how to just settle things nicely without anybody, you know, getting too upset or whatever the case might be. But I truly believe the culture we have here, I think is the top everything, you know.
Yeah.
So like
you know.
part of the Brotherhood is like teaching other male entrepreneurs like systemizing everything, something as special as
Mhm.
the experience that you guys provide, like you're talking about, Luis. So what kind of system do you have in place to make sure that never falters with every person that walks through the door?
Mm.
Matter if you guys are here or not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it all comes down to the interview process.
Mhm.
You know, we always, man, we try our best to just carefully pick people. When we're doing interviews, they have to match our energy, and they, you know, even if they're not super talkative people, like, are you respectful? You know, do you respect your elder? You know, are you okay, you know, following orders if need so, right? Like, how do you engage with just strangers? Like, it's all things that we look for, and we could tell right away, even if they do get hired within the first couple of days, we could tell with the interactions that are happening around us. But so I think the interview process is where everything starts.
Is there like a system where you go, the person who's the closest to the front will always greet the new person in?
Yeah, basically that's basically how it is by
Yeah.
default.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's us.
Yeah.
So you guys are like, hey, no matter what,
Yeah.
that person, someone walks in, they always get a,
Yeah.
hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
And I think that there's a unique perspective in the fact that we get to lead from the front, right? Like, we're boots on ground with these guys. We are owner operators. We're not just owners. So that gives them a really good reflection of who and what we are and how we treat our customers, and then also how we treat them. So I think that as long as you have that proper culture and what he said, quality over quantity, as long as you do your due diligence in those aspects, I think that the culture will carry itself. And I think, you know, we have some elder statesmen that have been with us longer than some of these other barbers. And I think they do a really good job of holding down the fort and making sure that our culture standards are abided by, you know what I mean? Even in our absence. So that's amazing.
100%. Yeah, we're always encouraging that. Every single day, I feel like we're encouraging. Hey, man, don't forget, you know, smile. You know,
Or just acknowledge somebody. Like,
Yeah.
think about it. Like, if you were to walk in somewhere and you don't know anybody and you've never been there, well, how would you want to be greeted? How would you want to be treated? How would you want to be accepted and received?
Yeah.
And, you know, we've heard that from other people. Like, clients say, like, I've been to other barbershops and they look at you like you're an intruder instead of a guest, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like,
You can tell the franchises, like in the food franchises, that
Yeah.
require the hellos and the smiles,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because like the moment you walk through the door, they have to stop what they're doing
Yeah.
and turn and look at you and say,
Yeah.
hi, well, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, okay,
100%,
that's not done by like just happen chance. But,
exactly.
like, that's like the type of
It's in
person
play,
that needs to be
100%.
like, the type of person needs to be someone who can do
Right.
that, wants to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So something else about like barbershops, like some people can think about them as maybe one thing or another, but what do you think people misunderstand or misunderstood about barbershops or owning a barbershop, or like what all comes together with being a barber? What do people you think misunderstood?
I think that sometimes they see, or they're surprised maybe to see how successful you can be cutting hair. I had a funny run-in with a what became a customer, but he saw me walk into a bar. I was invited by one of my customers at the time, in Round Lake, and I went into the bar, and I'm saying hi to him and some of his friends, and before you know it, I see another guy that comes to the barbershop, and it's like, oh, hey. And this gentleman's just kind of watching this engagement that I'm having with all these different people, and then somebody offers to buy me a drink, and I'm like, sure, man, I'll take a, whatever. And I was like, actually, at the time, I smoke cigarettes, so I excused myself to go outside to smoke a cigarette, and then shortly after, this gentleman follows me. And so now we're both outside, and he like starts conversation with me by saying, hey, do you have a lighter? And I was like, sure. So I, give him a lighter. We're talking, we're smoking a cigarette. And he's like, so what do you do, man? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, who are you? And I'm like, I'm a barber. And he was like, and I'm like, okay, that was, you know what I mean? Not the reaction I was expecting, but I was like, why do you ask? And he was like, well, you're over here like saying hi to everybody, and the bartender, and they're buying you drinks. He was like, I thought you were like some sort of drug dealer or something. And I'm like, dude, what gave you that impression? And he's like, but you're a barber. That's cool. He's like, so what do you guys make? Like 28,000 a year or something? And I'm like, well, I don't really talk about numbers, especially not with somebody I just met. But I was like, if I am making 28,000, I probably need more clients, right? So, here's my business card, and reach out if you ever in need. So he finally does come. Dude, it was like 6 months later. It took him a while. And I see him come in, him and his son. And I'm like, oh, wow, look, I know that guy. I never forget a face. And he just so happened to book with me because I was one of the newer barbers. So I had more availability than everybody else. So he sits in my chair, and he's like, dude, are you? I'm like, yeah, that's me. And he was like, dude, that's crazy. I was like, yeah. And then so he pays me at the end of the service for me, or for him and his son. And it was like his second visit. And he was like, dude, I'm sorry. And I'm like, what? He's like, I get it now. And I'm like, oh, okay, there you go.
We're so used to, from when I first started, and I'm pretty sure it happened to him too a lot when he first started, like, man, people would just downplay it so much. Like people that are, like hairstylists and barbers, like, I don't know why. There's a misconception of, like you said, bottom of the barrel.
Ran out of options. So
I just think people don't, like, they can't see past that for some reason. So for some reason, it's not now it's becoming more respected, right? But before, man, when I was in high school, I'll tell you what, man, like people that I knew dragged me through the floor because they were like, oh, dude, you're not going to college? This is all you're going to do with your life, bro? Like, it was tough, dude. It was tough because it was like, dude, I love what I'm doing. What do you mean? Like, and I was like, oh, yeah, you're just cutting hair though. Like, that's it. And I'd be like, I was lost for words. I'd take that home with me and just kind of ponder on it, like, dude,
cutting hair, that's it.
Yeah, like what? Like, that's when I was young, right? That was before all of this even flourished, but now here we are.
I think people forget that it's a trade. It is a trade, and it's actually one of the oldest trades in American history, right? Or in world history, probably. I don't know, but it's a trade, and it doesn't require a 4-year degree. It doesn't require, thousands. And shout out to the people, like my son is getting ready to embark on that journey, and he wants to go to college, and I support it fully. And I think that that's amazing. And if it would have been for me, that would have been my route 100%. But, I really want people, and especially the younger people, to understand, like, this is a very viable career option, and it's a very lucrative career option if you treat it like a career, right? And you respect it, and you have the discipline and the consistency to get good at it, and really work at your craft. You can, there's really no heights. There's kids that are surpassing what even me and him are doing, and they don't even own a barbershop. They don't have the stress of owning a barbershop. They just kind of created a brand around themselves, and now they're cutting celebrities, and they're cutting influencers, and they're traveling here and there. And it's just incredible. Like I just watched it, UFC, and they had a whole segment around barbering, like the fighter in the chair with the barber, and it's a reoccurring theme in all of these build-up like promos for fights. You see it more and more now. So barbering is really becoming a mainstay in pop culture, which is helping everybody.
You brought up a great point. So you talk about stress as owning a barbershop, right? So let's talk a little bit more about like what that's like as a man trying to be like, you both have families, right?
Yes.
You're trying to provide for them. You're also trying to run a business. Talk to me about like, how do you balance the work and the life?
For me, it's very easy to forget that, like, I feel like when you're an owner in this kind of industry, it's really hard to not take this with you at home, right? Because we are always dealing with emails, projects, getting on Canva, making flyers, blah, blah. all these things that just that we have to do, that has to get done. Getting on phone calls at 9:30 p.m., for an hour and just talking about what's next, or hey, we need to do this and that. So like it's tough, but I think just having a good partner to understand that, hey, this is the thing that needs to get done, and there's no other way around this. And if I don't do this, me and my partner are gonna bump heads. Like, and I can't have that. And I know he doesn't want that either. So it's tough, but having the communication at home for me has helped me a lot. And yeah, that's
There's a lot of intentionality, like with time away from here. It's like, I'm not to be bothered, or is it like,
yeah. Like when I'm at home, you mean?
Mhm.
Yeah. There's I would say that there's certain hours I'm just like, yeah, dude, this is where I'm cutting it off. I think we've gotten better as we've gotten before. Didn't matter what.
It'd be midnight, 1 a.m. sometimes, and we're
Yeah.
shooting emails, text messages, images back and forth, ideas, and it's like I would wake up out of my sleep sometimes and have this like awestruck idea, and I'm like, I got to send this before I forget it. You know what I mean? It's terrible timing, but I think to his point, like the older you get, the more you realize. I think watching my son, who's now 17, and having a daughter who's 5, has really put things into perspective, because I'm in the middle of two spectrums, where one is really becoming an adult and is, doesn't need me anymore. And I'm realizing how important it is for me to be there for this little 5-year-old girl that's quickly going to become, that's my 17-year-old son. So for me, it's understanding like, hey, I was always under the impression, and don't leave anything for tomorrow. My mother used to always stress that. Don't leave things for tomorrow if they can be done today, because tomorrow can never come. And to my point to that, or my argument to that would be, if tomorrow doesn't come, does it even matter anyway? Right? Like that I did that and then tomorrow never came. Like it is what it is. Nothing happens after that anyway. So understanding balance, cadence. I have ADD, so my life is all about notes and reminders and then calendars. I've gotten really good. My wife has made me really good at Google Calendars and just really documenting my steps throughout the day and what I have to do, so that I don't double book myself, because I was really bad at that. And I think you can agree, where we would say yes to so many things, back to that people pleaser mentality. And then you're overcommitted and you're like, oh dude, I'm going to drop the ball. Like, who do I disappoint? And that never feels good. So to me, I got to definitely shout out my wife, and to his point, having a good partner, but then having a business partner that I can share the stresses and the loads of doing business with. It has been invaluable. And we were both told, when mentioning that we were going to partner and do this thing together, how much that wasn't a good idea. A lot of people believed that, we were better off doing it by ourselves, and no partnerships really succeed, and they always end up in in court and in litigations and things like that. So, but thus far, 6 years going strong, man, and they've flown by. And I can't imagine not having a business partner to kind of bounce ideas off of.
to your point, like we've heard that too. But like my business is partnered, right, as well. They can grow a bond, like what you guys have done here.
Yeah.
And then if you have the right mentality about it, and it's not that selfish individual, you can be like, well, I'm working from my family and me, right? Because you mentioned your family, right? But then if you drop the ball, if you really care about Luis, you're dropping the ball on him and his family, same vice versa, right?
Yeah.
You're for you and your family, and for him, like, I care about him. I don't want the ball dropped from him. And then you have a team of wolves, right? You have the wolf pack.
And
You go, we drop the ball on that.
Yeah.
That's their life, their slash out there, their
Absolutely.
income. So that's really cool that you guys have applied that to everything.
Yeah.
So on a scale of like 1 to 10, like 10 being like incredible stress, 1 being low, where do you guys rank it now after like some years of experience? Like, talk to me about the beginning. Obviously, COVID is probably just insane stress.
Yeah.
So and then now it's probably like, I'm assuming, a lot lower.
Yeah, I would say, definitely when we first started, we poured everything we had. I know I poured all of my life savings into the first location, and I was freaking out. I was like, man, how are we gonna do this? How are we, like, now they're talking about 2.5 months till we can open anything, and we were supposed to open March. It was like beginning of March or something, right?
Yeah.
And for me, the stress was at all-time high. I didn't know what was gonna happen, especially opening the doors and all the regulations that they wanted us to have in place in the barbershop and this and that, and how our clients are going to react to this. Like, who's going to want haircuts? You know what I mean? Like, it was through the roof for me. I don't know if your experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, there were so many hurdles that we had to cross. COVID aside, just even getting to the grand opening, there were so many different things that we just kept running into that we weren't expecting. We weren't carpenters or handymen by any stretch of the imagination. So a lot of what we had to do, because the budget was so small, was DIY. So we found mentors, we found friends that had like businesses in the carpentry industry or trade, and then kind of were like, hey, if you can just kind of watch us mess up and then correct us, we'd appreciate it, and we would pay you for your time. And so shout out to everybody and anybody that helped us with Wolves Number One. I mean, that was incredible, and it took a village. It really
Not Wolves Number One.
So Wolves Number One technically was at 1824 East Belvedere Road. We are currently at 1836 East Belvedere Road.
Yeah.
So our previous unit was
literally 5 units that way. So as soon as you
Oh.
walk out of this building, it's 5 units to your right. So we were there for 5 years.
Smaller space.
Yeah, smaller space. Yeah,
1,600 square feet.
1,600.
So that's a big decision to decide to like move spots, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not just moving things, you're moving chairs,
Mhm.
all other stuff.
Mhm.
So when it comes to making those big, hard choices, how do you guys, like, what's that process like? Yeah, but like,
Been cool.
Hey Siri.
Yeah.
As she's listening, stop. I was just kidding. Yeah, no, that it was one of those things where we had 1824. It was amazing. We grew during COVID. We expanded in size as far as staff, and it got to a point where we were, rejecting more business than we felt comfortable rejecting because we were booked. So walk-ins, phone calls, things of that nature would kind of, hey man, we don't have any availability. And then we'd end up sending them, which is whatever. We're all about community, and we understand that barbering is a huge fraternity. So we don't have necessary issues sending them other places, but it's never a good feeling as a business owner to be like, hey, go to the competition. But, so, and then obviously we needed more staff, and we were fully staffed. So I'm like, well, that's a glaringly obvious pointer to expansion. And we started flirting with Antioch and Mundelein, and we looked in Libertyville and Vernon Hills
Yeah.
for a second location. In that process, there was a young lady that was currently a tenant here, and she didn't want this much space, didn't need this much space. So she wanted to downsize. She hit us up and was like, hey, I heard you guys are looking to expand. I'm looking to shrink a little. Maybe we can help each other out. And so we explored those options. And
Yeah, and I think it was the best option we came across, to be honest. The best thing that happened, because we were able to stay local, same plaza, everybody already knows we're here, and then we got a space almost twice as big.
did you guys literally just flip over there?
well, so no, she actually ended up leaving the plaza entirely, going to a smaller unit somewhere else.
Story. Like,
She wanted to go to a completely different town, so that's
okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, I mean, you guys obviously have instilled like quite the experience here. So, what if you were to do like, if you're like, okay, I want someone to think about the Wolves this way, what would they want them to say?
Man,
Or it could be about Melrose, it could be about Luis, right?
I really think that this business epitomizes the American dream, the rags to maybe one day riches. We're not there yet, but we're climbing. I think it's very much that. It's that wolf mindset, of that never give up mindset, that the thrill of the hunt and the chase. COVID, obstacle number one, right? And we got through it, thank God. Well, there was obstacles before that, but thank God we got through COVID. This last obstacle was expansion. In what direction do we go? And God opened these doors. And again, we find ourselves in a beautiful place, and everybody's accepting and welcoming of us. We built this with our own 2 hands, this and the first one. That was me and this guy, hammer and nail, drill and saw, like putting this place together. Long hours, cutting hair all day, and then being whatever DIYers at night on top of running a business. Like, this one was unique because the first one was hard because we were working as barbers, and then we would come to this location, 1824, and just hammer and nail and try to build it out. The last one was tough because we were running 1824 while building 1836.
Yeah.
So that was unique, right? Because now not only are you cutting hair all day, but you're cutting hair, running a business, and now building a second business all at the same time. And that, and trying to juggle, to your point earlier, family life and fun and friends, and not just going insane and burying yourself in work and not having a life outside of it. It was intense for sure, but I think this is what the American dream's about, that never quit, never say never, stop trying attitude. Like, we're going to go for it every time.
Promise your wife, like, I will have this new building open by this day, so I will not be in 2 spots anymore.
Yes, and she laughed and said, you'll find other things to bury yourself under, so I'm already used to it. Like, it's one of those things with her. But thank you. I love you, babe. You're the best.
What about you? What would you say? Like, I'm one thing. If a person leaves Wolves, you want them to say.
You know, I keep coming back to the culture aspect of it. I love it here. I've worked in different barbershops where it was very cutthroat, and you know, there's times where I sit back and I'm like, man, why did I stick around for so long in certain places? You know, like why did I let some of these places kill my like the love of the craft that I once had when I was young? Because that's what led me to going to college, and then thankfully I found it again, the love for the craft in college and after. You know, while I met my boy here, and you know, and I just think it's the culture that we created here that we don't want anybody to ever feel that way. And I just, you know, I just want people to, you know, to look back, you know, if this were all, you know, snap, everything's gone tomorrow, to be like, man, the Wolves, man, that was 101, man, one of a kind. And, you know, you can't find that anywhere else, you know. Like, so for me, it's the culture that we've built here. It's great. It's awesome.
And very unique to what this is. Because there are, like, you get talk, there are barbershops, even around this local area, where they're trying to get you in and they're trying to get you out as quick as they possibly can.
Oh, yeah.
So, right? That's it's like the great Kips, sport clips type
you just a number.
business model.
Turnstile business model, for sure.
So, like, obviously, as I'm a customer here for these guys, I can't tell you much. The experience, along with the quality of the haircut, is top notch. Obviously, beard work as well here. But I just want to give these guys a second to talk about an awesome event that they're putting on coming up in September. So they're going to talk to you guys a little bit about golf.
Yes. So we've become infatuated.
We caught the bug.
Yeah,
We did.
with golf, and we were almost bullied into doing our own outing by customers and people that we have engaged with at their outings. So shout out to Billy Hamrick, shout out to Mike Pruitt at the Vine, all of the people that were involved in pushing us, Alex Aikman, in this direction. So we are doing a golf outing September
3rd. It's the Thursday before Labor Day. We're starting a 12 p.m. shotgun start. All right. And we're doing it all for
Movember. So if anybody's familiar with Movember Foundation, it's centered around men's mental health, testicular cancer, and prostate cancer, which are the top 3 killers of men, unfortunately, in this country. So we're big on, obviously, men's mental health is a big thing at a barbershop. We talk about everything here.
Yeah.
We're kind of your impromptu psychologists, your cheaper psychologists. So we're going to be doing a golf outing again. We're shooting for 36 foursomes. We're looking for companies to sponsor. So if you know or are somebody that would like to help us sponsor and put together this charity event and raise money for an amazing cause, please reach out to us at ulvsculture@gmail.com. That's how you can get in touch with us. Or you can call the shop 224-275-8430 and get a hold of Melrose or Cano. And we would love to get to know you and give you some more information and explore how you can help us put together this amazing event and hopefully more amazing events to come in the future. So the Movember in September to remember is what's coming. So the Wolves Classic is coming, and hopefully we can knock this out of the park with the help of our amazing community.
Yeah. And we'd love to have you there. So
absolutely.
Please reach out, come join us, get yourself a quad, a foursome, and join us for an amazing day at golf, man.
Pizzeria DeVille will be on deck, on premises. If you know Pizzeria DeVille, shout out to JR Escobar. He was nice enough to bring his food truck and his delicious offerings. So that's also going to be part of the event. There's going to be so many things, so many games, so many prizes, so many opportunities to win some cool stuff. So come on out and join us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There you have it. The alphas of Wolves Barbershop, Mr. Melrose and Luis, right? Now you know who they are, what they do, and why you should come see them. All right. Have a great day.
Thank you. Peace.
Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay locked in. Brotherhood is more than business. It's about leading from the front, leveling up in every domain, and becoming the CEO of your own life. Step up, execute, and we'll see you in the next one.